Yeah, deciding to sell something that was all my blood, sweat, and tears was a weird thought, but it was the right timing for me. And it's still living on. Its legacy, which is so incredible. I think that's the best of both worlds.
Okay, I'm super excited. I've been looking forward to this because you have my favorite cake.
We just discovered this.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, no, I knew. So your shop, I've been there.
Ivy Cake?
Yes, and we used to go to Ivy Cake and like get different, because I love it. And then I actually had a boyfriend in college.
Yeah.
Did they tell you the story?
No.
Okay, so he was really nice, actually. I just was not as nice as he was. But he was a really nice guy.
Okay.
And he had amazing parents, but she made this caramel cake.
Yeah.
And I almost didn't break up with him. I had to break up with him because I was going to graduate school and like different stuff. Life. And he's extremely successful and wealthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was always such an amazing person. But his mother made this cake.
Okay.
And so I literally said to my mother, I want to break up with him because I told my mom, I think I need to break up with him because of my career and what I was doing. And I was like, I'm never going to have that cake again. So my mom was like, get the recipe. So I actually asked for the recipe.
Did she say no?
She gave me an abbreviated recipe. Let me just say this. My mom is one of the best bakers, chefs in the world. I think for me, I love her food.
Yeah.
She never could duplicate it. And I tasted, you had a couple of cakes and I was like, wow.
It brought you back?
It brought me back. And I'm like, well, maybe I can get over the fact. I still miss the fact until I did that. There's certain things that bring it back. She was really, really good at making cakes. Yeah.
So with Ivy Cake, you can have your cake and eat it too.
I can.
You could break up with the guy and still have
I could break up with the guy. He's a really nice guy.
The caramel cake was called Out of the Funk. So it literally brought you out of the funk of not having that cake again until Ivy Cake.
Yes.
That is like the best story.
Did you sell that cake to any restaurants in town? Because there was a restaurant over by Green Hills. They're not open anymore, I don't think.
I sold cakes to the Picnic in Belmead.
Okay.
And so they had my strawberry and chocolate cake.
Yes.
And all the cupcakes were mine. So other than that, it was consumers walking in the door.
Yeah.
It was a fascinating business.
Do you love doing it?
Well, so I sold it in 2019.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I sold it in 2019 to my employees, so it's still Ivy Cake. I slipped out the back door.
Was that hard?
It wasn't hard to do it. It was hard to make the decision because I was really tired. And you know what's funny? Why I even got into tequila was
because you're in tequila
accident.
now. We're getting ready to talk about that. I'm so sorry I keep talking about Ivy Cakes.
No, but it's the reason why is because I'm first and foremost a recipe developer. I hear you are too.
Yeah.
I'm a recipe developer, and that's how Ivy Cake started. But when I started the business of Ivy Cake, I couldn't develop recipes anymore because I was so busy with the day in and day out business part of it all that I didn't have time to just be in that fun zone of creativity.
Yeah.
But what I would do is I would come home and I would develop cocktail recipes. So over 10 years, trying different tequilas, and that's how the transition actually happened. It was very organic. But yeah, deciding to sell something that was all my blood, sweat, and tears was a weird thought, but it was the right timing for me. And it's still living on. Its legacy, which is so incredible. I think that's the best of both worlds.
And you're a creative. I am too. So you're right. I use recipes, but I use them as a formulator and a scientist. But same thing, really. I mean, I try to explain that to people. I
change lives.
I have to be honest with you. I have a couple of very close friends that are artists or in marketing or creativity, graphic design. And I think everybody touches each other's lives as long as we're doing it positively. And food and alcohol and different things really help people experience things in a different way, right? And remember things in a different way. We did come up with Clean Spirits, which I know I want to meet with you and talk to you about. So tell me about your tequila.
I put 5 drops in here.
This is
of the Clean Spirits.
I want to partner with, and hey, I was going to tell you, I know the guy that's bringing all the tequila into the UAE. So I have to hook you up.
Oh, we do need to have a conversation.
Because listen to this, when I go over there, not that I drink tequila, but Joy knows it's the only thing I drink.
I did see your very, very impressive collection.
Did you see it? Well, so over there, like, let's say you're at the Four Seasons to have a glass of tequila, like a margarita. It's like $180, $200. But like at the the Palace, like some of their hotels, it's $340
Wow.
a glass.
Wow.
Yeah. So now they're importing it in because
Yeah.
I asked, because a lot of people don't drink there,
Yeah.
and or do they?
Yeah, exactly. Or do
Or do they? Wait a minute.
under the radar.
Because I was raised Southern Baptist, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you were?
Yeah, and the Catholic, all my friends that were Catholic, so they were drinking, and
Yeah.
the Baptists, they did too. They just
Yeah.
did it in a.
It's so
behind the
funny. I'm
scenes.
such a rule follower, but I think when it comes to my creativity, I just like to break the rules. I'm such a curious,
I have to taste
person.
your tequila. Do you do Reposado?
Oh yeah, your husband actually really likes the Reposado.
Because that's what I drank is Reposado. And I
Yes.
can't figure this out. That never makes me sick or feel bad. I usually will have a drink, maybe two, right?
Yeah.
And
You sip it slowly.
My friends are the same way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. I don't really like it straight. I like to add just like a little bit of lime juice.
Yeah.
And maybe a jalapeno.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't
you
like
like
it
a spicy margarita,
I
right?
like a spicy margarita.
Okay, we
I
made some
do.
for you today, by the way.
Oh, I can't wait.
Special request. we heard through the grapevine that was your favorite, so we made sure to have it at the
Oh my
bar.
goodness, we need to do an Instagram live on that.
I know. Yeah. Make
I
sure it's
love
up
it.
to your standards. But the
Yeah.
tequila really
No,
was.
it will be.
I
Yeah.
think that everything that you talk about, like as far as creativity, no matter what lane you're in, I think our tagline at Southbound Tequila is inspired by intention.
Yeah.
And looking for this tequila, which I searched over 10 years for a brand to be loyal to, and I honestly kept moving on.
Yeah.
I really wanted a well-made tequila, highest integrity as far as the agaves that are harvested,
Oh, yeah.
the cooking methods that are well respected.
Because I don't
no
think people
cutting
even
corners.
understand that. And I want you to tell the audience, because the agave is where, so when you study, like as a scientist,
Yeah.
I understand that when people, agave is basically the best thing you can have if you are, even if you are sick. And I don't know if you know this, when you're in Ireland, they still, in some of the hospitals, will give people like vodka
Yeah.
after they have the baby, to help
Yeah.
with pain or to help with that whole process. And I remember having a discussion when I was consulting with a company that was in Ireland, and I said, you guys should have agave because it's better
Yes.
for the mother.
See, you can speak
Yeah.
into that
I can.
even more so than
Yeah.
I can, but just, it's such a superior source
It
in the
is.
way that we process it.
And
know?
that's, so do you want to explain to the audience what agave is? Because so I do this thing all the time that people say, Christina, they don't know what that is, because I don't explain
Yeah.
the full, I assume that people know what it is.
Yeah.
But I'll give you an example. We have a huge audience in India
Yeah.
and in the Middle East because we work in those countries.
Yeah.
I bet they don't know what agave is. So,
Okay,
yeah.
so there's blue agave is specific to tequila. There's over 250
Yeah.
species of agave.
Right.
But blue agave is specific to how tequila is made, and there's only certain regions that can grow it in Mexico. And so, it takes, if you're doing it right, it's grown in the ground. Lowlands and the highlands are the two regions that it's grown in. And it takes 8 to 10 years to fully mature. If you're doing it correctly, you wait until it's fully mature. And that sugar source is so much more superior as far as how our body processes it. So,
It's a lot more superior, by the
Yeah.
way.
so I know you could probably tell me more about that, but what I've heard is that we process it much slower in our bloodstream, so we don't get that spike.
Right. So so I always say this, I'm not encouraging people to drink a lot of
Right.
alcohol because I know there's people that have gone through addiction. I'm pretty
Yes.
sensitive to that.
Right, same.
But you're right. It's not the same. It's not being metabolized the same. So it doesn't have the same impact on the organs of the body, including the brain and how everything is being processed. And so that's why it's so important, because the body is basically recognizing it as a natural, kind of like a nutrient, right? So it's much better. But when I say that, I always say it's not like I want people to go drink a whole fifth of tequila, right?
Everything in moderation.
Everything in moderation.
And I say everybody's body is different too. I know
is.
I have a friend that just cannot metabolize alcohol the same way that I do. I'm very professional at it. So
You know what? I have a couple of friends, honestly, they
really
can't have
can't.
one drink.
yeah.
They completely are, it's
Yeah.
like, what just happened?
So I try to
Yeah.
never generalize anything,
Yeah.
because you have to, everybody in every situation has to listen to their own body.
Oh, yeah,
And
absolutely.
I really, when I went through the whole process with the distillery that I partnered with, I wanted to live with this tequila for a full year before I brought it to market, because I really cared how it would make me feel. And so I drank it in copious amounts. I drank it a little, and I can tell by the way that it's made that it stands true to how it makes you feel. Now, when
great.
you start adding in other things, you know, like the kind of sugar that you use to make to make a cocktail, that matters too.
What's in this that you made?
What I love is that it's very little agave, but we juiced our bell peppers.
Okay.
So this is a bell pepper cocktail.
Oh, wow.
It has fresh bell pepper juice, lemon juice, and then a little bit of the agave nectar.
Okay.
And then a little bit of cilantro infused water. I use water in all of my cocktails because I love the dilution.
Do you know I do
of that.
too? So what I do is I'll make a drink and then I just go fill it up with water and ice and I let it melt because then I feel like I taste a little bit, but I'm getting hydrated at the same time.
Can you also, I wonder if you're this way, I don't like club soda.
I don't drink club soda.
I can't do it.
No.
And I don't think it's hydrating, number one, and I think it overpowers the tequila.
Yeah,
so,
I do too.
Okay, see,
so we're
we're
gonna have a drink later.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't even drink sparkling water anymore because it bothers me. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So it's because of your GI, it can actually mess up the microbiome, but that's another discussion.
I'd love to know this though.
So we have a new peptide line, by the way. I'm going to make sure you have clean spirits. I hope you and I can go to lunch or breakfast and talk about.
We need to schedule it.
We need to schedule it.
I would love that.
I would
We'd probably talk for hours and hours.
I'm sure we would. I'm sure we would. And I can connect you with a guy that's going in. He basically was hired. He's from Mexico to bring all the tequila in. Great guy. Great guy. But we have a peptide line. So we have not launched it yet, but we'll send you a product and then some of the products, and then we'll send you the clean spirits and then the relive grains because you can try that. Because
I'm excited.
We sometimes put relive grains in the margaritas. That's why Joy asked.
Oh yeah, I want to try that. I'm all about that. I juice a green apple and put it with my Blanco only. Like it will mix in well.
Well, the relive grains doesn't have GMOs. We source the plants. I clean it to get rid of lectin and everything in the powder. So it's very, very good for you. I was sick after I had my first son. And I had a pituitary tumor. And anyway, I started researching greens and how they could impact your body. I worked at pharmaceutical companies, but I didn't want to just be on drugs my whole life.
Yeah.
Although I'm not against pharmaceutical products at all. I'm
you come
for
from a place
natural
of passion for it and because of personal experience. Wow.
Yeah. I'm passionate about people's health, whatever it takes to make them healthy.
Yeah.
And I'm like you. I understand everyone's different. I don't judge decisions.
Yeah.
I just think people need to understand it's their body and their choice.
Yeah. Everything's worth seeking out.
It is.
And
it is.
Testing. But
I'm so glad I can't believe I met the person behind the cakes I like.
That caramel cake. We got closure.
And now I'm going to fall in love with your tequila.
You will. I hope. I'm going to just put it in your little stash. Like,
listen,
hide it into your collection.
When they brought this tea up, and I said, what's in here? Because I thought, I can't start drinking this right now when I'm doing
I can't
podcasts.
drink enough either, but I'm taking tiny sips.
But I will. Don't worry. I'll be out there, and I'm going to make sure Joy Smallwood is with me.
We'll make sure you get some reposado and a spicy.
Yes.
We'll sip.
Joy? Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.